If you fancy yourself as a seasoned vet in everything electronic music in Victoria, you might recognize this DJ, promoter, and producer.
We got a beat going on.
By day, he's a tech wizard in the telecommunications industry. But when the sun goes down and the volume goes up, this man in the arena has helped to manufacture many memories locally when it comes to the 4/4 dance floor.
I've wanted to bring you this episode to Victronic TV for quite some time. We are sitting with esteemed guest. Yes, there he is, Mr. Christoph Maitland. Now, you've been a staple in the Victoria electronic music scene since I moved here in 2005. So a little bit about your history and your tenure before we get to know a little bit about your past.
What's great about Victoria is just that we have just such a vibrant scene, especially for like the size of the city. I think it's like we have a greater amount of people that are into electronic music here than other places, for sure. We're a bit of an epicenter considering our size. So, I mean, that's really brought us a lot of things. We've had multiple clubs that are electronic, and we've seen a lot of like the biggest acts roll through here. We have so many DJs and producers. So, I mean, Victoria lives and breathes beats, and that's something that's been prevalent here since early 2000s. So, hats off to Victoria. I mean, we love DJ culture and we love electronic music.
Hats off to Victoria. Yeah, there we go. It's getting hot in here under these lights. Anyway, we're at Lucky Bar, and you have a very tenured relationship with this particular establishment. I mean, look at it. We got the light rig. We've got an actual motorbike in the building. I don't know how they got that up there, but they must have...
It changes every once in a while.
Oh, they changed? Wow.
Yeah.
So it must have been a couple of heavies, or maybe the doorman helped lift it up there, eh? I don't know.
Yeah.
But talk to us about working with this establishment, and maybe take us back to your first gig here.
Okay, I mean, I started throwing shows here at Lucky in like 2016. Before that, I was at Hush, which was the legendary from 2002 to 2014. So then I had about a 2-year break where I just was kind of in limbo. And I kind of wanted to do what I used to do, which was at Hush, I did kind of like a Victoria showcase on Saturdays. And I thought like, hey, wouldn't it be cool? I wanted to have a place to play, but I also wanted to have a place for like my friends to play, but also to kind of show off like the Victoria talent. So I started here on a Thursday nights, doing it once every couple months. And then about a year and a half later, kind of graduated to my first Friday. And then here we are. This is looking at like 9 years later now.
9 years in the making. Now you, the brand of the evening is called Houseworks.
Houseworks comes from like, there's a couple songs called it also, but like in a way, like there's like the working man's, you know, DJ, where, you know, like you got to put in the work to get the results. So like I kind of liked that title, you know, like, you know, we're really serious into the house music. So like I'm not afraid to put in the work, and yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, you're also like when you're dancing, you're kind of working it. So, you know, it's kind of a double meaning.
It's a cool logo. You kind of flushed out the branding over the years. Like I saw it sort of evolve, and now you, for every show, you seem to put together these packaged, I don't know if it's like animation along with some video, and it kind of really, it distinguishes your shows from a lot of the other ones that are happening. So can you talk to us about the marketing around it, like where you're at with that these days?
Yeah, I mean, like one thing that I try to do, and I think that makes Houseworks unique, is that it's constantly evolving, where like a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with this, a lot of people have a sound for their night, and they also have like DJs that are like, you know, conducive to that sound. where Houseworks is kind of always evolving. Like, yes, in the beginnings we did like some house, some disco house, some tech house, some bassy house, but we've also kind of branched out to where like we've done things that are like almost techno or almost progressive, and we've done some like live PA shows where people have brought in complete modular rigs. So it's really neat. I think that it's been cool to watch the evolution. It really is like trying to. That's what I love about electronic music, is that it's such a diverse palette, and within house you can showcase so many different styles and artists. So that really excites me, putting together these lineups, and then you can kind of show off, each one is like its own little unique microcosm kind of.
We were just talking to the owners of Lucky, who are going to be celebrating 25 years of being in business this year. That's quite the accolade. Let's start from the very beginning. So, are you born and bred on Vancouver Island?
I was born in Sarnia, Ontario, but I came here when I was like 2. So, I mean, I've lived here ever since I was a toddler. So, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
And when did you first get into electronic music? Because I know back in the late 90s around here, there were some warehouse raves. You know, how did you get introduced to the sound?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny story. Like, this is going to go way back. We're going to age myself really well here. I probably went to my first underground raves in like 96, 97.
And they were here in Victoria?
Here in Victoria, there was some at like the old Salvation Army, which was like a kind of like a big balcony. There was a club that was down by Store Street. And back then, like, people didn't even know there was a DJ. Sometimes they'd be in the corner, and these parties would go all night till like 8 in the morning. I didn't just go to parties in Victoria, I went to ones up and down the island, like Courtney, Nanaimo, and I just I had so much energy and I loved dancing. And what I loved about electronic music was that, like, there was just all these new sounds, and I could just dance for like 6-7 hours. So I fell in love with it, but I never thought about being a DJ. For the first 4 years, I was just happy to dance like 6-7 hours a night, and then just like go home and, you know, take a big rest for a couple days. But I think it was around 99 that I went back to the UK. I went to Glastonbury, which was this big festival. I saw all these legends and like Sasha and Orbital and Chemical Brothers and stuff. And then I came back and I started a new school year, and I bought my first Tech 12s with a little bit of help from the student loan money. And basically the rest is history. I met the person who taught me to DJ at a rave, and I just said like, hey, I really want to get this DJing thing down. And I mean, it was a bit of a different culture. You were buying records. One song was $20-25 often. You had to carry around a 50-pound case. So
do you remember your first record?
Funny story. Okay, I'll tell you my first 3 records I bought. I was actually in Amsterdam with my family, and I bought my first 2 records in Amsterdam. The first one was the Sing It Back double pack by Moloko, which is like a famous song. The second was ATB 9 p.m. Till I Come, because it just came out, and that little woo woo sound came on, and I was just like, oh, this is the bomb. And then my third record, which was a hilarious story, is I bought a breaks record in Glasgow, Scotland, which is where some of my family lives, and it was the incredible Melting Man on this label called Dust to Dust. And then when I was back in Sarnia, my birth town, I actually met a DJ, and I said, what's your DJ name? And it was the incredible Melting Man. And I said, you were the third record I ever bought in the UK, and you're playing Sarnia, Ontario. And he's like, yeah, I'm from London. So yeah, I actually met him. Super nice guy, really talented. Now he's on DJ Dan's label.
If you're watching from Sarnia, yeah, nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Christoph, so once you figured out you were a DJ, then you get into promoting. So take us through that transition from where, just playing music with your friends to now I'm going to be promoting an event.
So, I mean, the need to promote really is kind of the same today as it was back then. Way back in 2000, the guy who's still one of my closest friends, DJ Pants, and he taught me how to DJ. We needed a place to play, and we were just playing in his basement, and this was around 2000. And then we threw a house party, and like 8 people attended, and we called it Fun Lovin' One for some reason. And then I guess we thought that was such a banger, we were like, okay, we're gonna throw an outdoor party. We rented generators, about 250 people came. It was out in near Cowichan in the middle of the woods. And it was really just out of a necessity of like, no one knew who we were. We never had any exposure. We were just trying to get our first gig under our belt. So like, if nobody else is making these things happen for you, then you have to take matters into your own hands. So Fun Lovin' 2 was, I think we broke even, and we like gave ourselves opening and closing slots, but it was really exciting. I got my first beat match in public and all the rest of it. So
what did that feel like?
It was fun. Oh yeah, it was fun. So like,
did it match?
Oh yeah, I nailed some mixes, and back then it was tough. The monitors I think were like 30 feet away from me for some reason. So like, yeah, no, for sure. You had to watch the needle wasn't skipping, but yeah, it was just out of necessity. Like, if you wanted to play, often people have to be a promoter. It's kind of the same with everyone. So, but now I like doing it also because I like facilitating other people's uprising. So like when I see new DJs in Victoria, and I love getting them their first gig, their first like Friday opening slot, or like, this is the first time they got to close the club down, or it's the first time they got to like play right before like the main slot. That's kind of almost just as rewarding as playing, because like you get to see these people and you get to be the person who kind of like gets them to where they want to go.
He's the Godfather. Yeah. No, I've seen you throw shows and you take a step back. You're like not on the flyer. You're not on the bill. You're kind of like the producer, so to speak.
Yeah, as a DJ, I put a lot into my sets, so sometimes it's just like, it's a little bit less of a burden to go and just throw these like events, which I like to curate my nights like kind of like my sets. I like to have something where like everything kind of flows, and they're like, I try to put myself in the mind of the audience, where I think of like, you're sitting in front of the speakers, you're dancing, this goes into this and this goes into that. So I like to sequence it kind of like a set, which is kind of fun. But also, there's so many DJs in Victoria who deserve a chance that sometimes I don't make the bill.
We're looking at Loblo over here, some shots of her. She's a female DJ, sort of up and comer that I've seen emerge. Yeah. So that would be an example of somebody who's, through Houseworks, he's able to sort of present herself to a wider base.
Yeah, it's nice when I get to see like. You see people putting in the work, the houseworks, then, I think that they deserve a chance. And there's people that do things outside of my genres too, and people deserve chances there too. But absolutely, yeah, it's try to get people like where they're going, and we are kind of a community here, being here on an island, so like it's nice to kind of like, help each other out.
So talk about the facility. You got the brick wall, the iconic brick wall, the disco ball, and one of the most, I would say, extravagant light shows in Victoria.
Yeah, so the bar lighting and everything has kind of evolved over time, but you have just a lot of character in this room from all the years, right? The chandelier, like the all wood bar, and I mean this is a live music venue too. So yeah, there's a lot of like I love the evolving light show that happens behind the DJ booth. It's a vibe, and yeah, I mean like it's nice to have a home, you know. Basically how Houseworks has evolved is that before it was a local showcase, and recently I've been bringing in DJs from Vancouver and kind of like having some come over from that. So that's nice. Rennie Foster, of course, is like a Victoria legend, been playing here for like DJing for like way over 30 years. So he's a resident and he always comes over from Vancouver. It's really nice to have other kind of like really a kind of accomplished veteran DJs. We have John Delirious coming back May 3rd. He's just like an incredible guy, incredible DJ. He's from Calgary.
Yeah.
We have this giant hub that's just across the water, and whereas first I really focused on DJs and here, which I still is my main focus, it's nice to be able to have that ability to go and like pick a few people that you think fit or do something that's interesting to keep it like, you know, to keep like every performance kind of like unique. I like to do, you know, some things where we can just do this for once and try something else out. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of people who are like really good at their craft over there as well. So it's kind of nice you can have that. If we were just not so close, we couldn't do that, but it makes it like, you know, accessible to do that, so that's cool.
You're a producer as well, so yes, you DJ, but you just came out with an album recently. Talk to us through that project and the fact that you worked with some other local talent as well, along with vocalists.
Yeah, so I mean, the album came out in May of last year, so basically it was like 10 originals. It took me actually a few years to put together, and then I kind of bridged quite a few genres. I did a lot of like house and deep house, and like I did a bit of disco house, also did a little bit of like melodic house and techno, and even, yeah, so basically, and then my idea was I was going to get remixes only from Western Canadian producers to kind of showcase Western Canadian talent. So John Delirious and like some really great techno producers, Jay Garrett, Joel West, and we had DJ Sue and some drum and bass guys from here, Michael Beggs. So basically I put together this remix album that was just only Western Canadian, so to kind of showcase all the talent that we have here, because we have so much. It's hard for people to, you know, keep track and know it all, so hopefully it was an introduction of some other great artists that are here. And yeah, the music production journey continues. Still some new tracks coming out too, so. Music production is like the anti-club night. You're pretty solitary a lot of the time, unless you have like somebody who's doing it with you. So yeah, for sure, it's a totally different thing.
I know the average person that goes to the club, they're up there shaking it, and they don't really understand the work that goes into creating the track. When you're not involved in electronic music, I've seen some of your posts on Facebook as well. Like, you're kind of an outdoorsy guy, like it's completely the opposite. So one minute you're like hiking up a mountain or bivvy camping in the middle of who knows where. And I know you like to travel a lot too, so you know, talk to us about that part of your life as well, like where you want to get away from all of this and step into nature maybe.
I just think that it's like everything requires balance. So you don't want too much treble in your track. You don't want too much bass in your track. It's also nice to.
I bet there's a few people that'll disagree with you there. They want more bass.
That's true. But I mean, if you only have bass and you have no hats or anything like that, that's the thing that gives it that shaken rhythm. So like, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's nice to get some balance and go outside. I think that's what's great about Vancouver Island is that like when I first got into electronic music, the contrast between this like really amazing futuristic beats and everything, and then outdoor parties where it was like outdoors and you got to like experience that, kind of brought together two worlds. But yeah, we live in a beautiful place. It's good to get outside, it's good to get inside.
Where did the name Short Fuse come from? Because I know that's the name of your entity.
Right, so Short Fuse is now my record label, Short Fuse Recordings. Before we were also Short Fuse Promotions, and that all started at Hush way back like 2004. I'm on the lookout for people to try to include. And I mean, like, I've tried all kinds of different things out. We've had, you know, dance troupes perform. We've had somebody with like a fan dance once perform. I've had a couple break dancers perform. I brought in like lasers and visuals for when Kevin Shue was just here. This whole place was decked out like just incredibly. And yeah, I mean, I think I try to make everyone like a little bit unique with like some little extra flavor that people haven't seen at the last one. So yeah, we're gonna continue doing that, bringing in some new faces, bringing back some favorites who have new material, and just continue on that way. You know, keep the good vibes and the good music going. And much thanks to Lucky Bar. Yeah, I mean, like, they always have excellent staff, and they're always just, you know, nice people, and everybody kind of loves dancing it up here.
Life Underneath the Disco Ball this Saturday for Houseworks at Lucky Bar. Come be part of the history and the future of this long-standing story. For Victronic TV, I'm Agent MC, and we'll see you next time. Booyah!